Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's free webcast series. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm with Foundation Software. We've got Alex Gray on the line as well from Payroll for Construction, as well as J.R. McGraw from McCormick Systems. Appreciate everybody stopping by today. So today we are going to review, like the title says, the union contractors all-in-one back office solution. So the purpose of this is really to give everybody a taste of kind of who we are and what we do. It'll be a pretty brief overview here, and we're going to take you through a little bit of McCormick, some Foundation, and then Payroll for Construction as well. So anybody out there that's familiar with us, that's seen the program before, again, this will be a pretty broad overview. Not going to get into a ton of detail today. It's really there just to make everybody aware of who we work with and kind of this whole flow of data between these three software systems. So you all are in listen only mode. There's a little chat pane over in the go to meeting or go to webinar control panel. So if anybody does have specific questions, go ahead and fire them into the chat. We'll take a look at those toward the tail end and either address them at the end of the webinar or circle back more for a one-on-one type thing. So like I said, very broad overview today. Anybody that's wanting to take a closer look at any of these systems, you let us know. We'll get you online, more for a personalized type demo. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take you through a little slideshow presentation here. And like I said, this is going to cover Foundation, the accounting side of things. It's going to cover Payroll for Construction, which is our payroll service, and then McCormick Systems as well. So this is me on the left. I'm with Foundation. This is Alex here in the middle. He is with Payroll for Construction. And then we've got JR as well from McCormick. So we're going to sort of bounce around a little bit, trade screens, move around on the audio here. So you'll be hearing from all three of us. So starting just with a little overview of Foundation, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Foundation, we've been in the industry for about 36 years, and we only work construction. So that's the only industry we've ever been in. You can see here we've got about 5,300 software clients that use our full accounting program. We've got about 1,900 payroll clients using our payroll service, Payroll for Construction. And the breakdown here, you can see about 70% subs, about 30% GCs. Now, the target audience in this particular webinar, it really is electricals and plumbers. That's McCormick's bread and butter. They are an estimating program that's designed specific to electrical and plumber. So that's really who we're kind of presenting this to. That's what he'll focus on, brief overview of McCormick for the electricals and the plumbers that are out there. Everybody else can feel free to just hang out for a bit as well, for those that want to see Foundation and see the P4C details as well. But really on the estimating side of things, this would be unique to the electricals and plumbers of the world. So that makes up about 1,000 of Foundation clients. Of the Foundation clients, that just happens to be a couple of the trades that we specialize in. So with Foundation, you can see author, developer. We develop our own software. Everything is done in-house. Support, customer retention, more or less what we're known for in the industry. Now, McCormick, on the estimating side of things, and this is JR's world, so I'm just going to take you through a little bit of the McCormick overview here. 40 years in business, estimating and digital takeoff for electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. McCormick's got about 3,500 clients. They're headquartered in Arizona. So you see down here toward the bottom, Foundation acquired McCormick last year. So they are part of the Foundation family. A lot of you have probably caught wind of that. So we're all under the same organization at this point, which really makes for a lot of opportunity with seamless integration, data feeding from McCormick over to Foundation, then ultimately over to Payroll for Construction. So again, just to kind of showcase the flow of data goes from estimating to accounting to payroll without having to jump through hoops to get that data moved over. Now, the P4C side of things. So Payroll for Construction, powered by Foundation software. So we use the Foundation accounting program within Payroll for Construction to process those payrolls. Another good example of that seamless integration, feeding from Foundation over to P4C. All 50 states we work, specialize in union for the audience on this particular webinar, and government prevailing wage, certified payroll. That's really our bread and butter on the payroll side of things. And you can see with P4C, and Alex is going to get into some of this stuff a little bit later, we pay the employees, we take care of the taxes, we automate all the reports, like your job cost, your certified payroll, minority compliance. So again, that's all part of the service. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and kick this over to JR. So JR, just give me 1 second here. All right, JR, you should be set up as the presenter here. And like I said, JR is going to take you through a little bit of McCormick, give you guys a taste of what these guys do over there.
Great, thank you. So everybody, again, as Patrick stated, we service electrical, plumbing, and mechanical contractors, and our program can handle any type of project, commercial, industrial, residential, low voltage, high voltage. So we've got all the bases covered. Right now, you guys should be seeing my job dashboard. Easy to keep track of the bids that you've got going on here in McCormick. You can set up bid statuses on your project and set up the information that you want to display on this screen. So step one in McCormick is just putting in job details and then bringing in digital files that you might have to bid the project with. We can bring any type of digital file, PDF drawings, blueprints, site plans, things of that nature. So that's what you would do in step number one. In McCormick, it's a 5-step process. You're going to go through these 5 buttons up here in the top ribbon. So that's getting started in step number 1. Step number 2, we call that labels. This is going to allow you to break down your project into different parts and pieces. So it will provide you with a lot of reporting later on in terms of the information that you want to see. We can keep our material list organized, assess what our labor distribution is on this project. So perform alternate bid packages and change orders. So a lot of cool things that we can do with our label sets here. This is really just preparing you for the main step in McCormick. Step number 3, takeoff. That's where I'll spend most of my time here with you guys. Takeoff is where we're getting all of the material accounted for. Now I've got you in our full electrical database. Right now, again, we do have a separate database for handling plumbing and mechanical. But again, you've got the database comes preloaded. We've got roughly 70,000 items pre-built in here, ready to go. All of these items have labor units built into them. There's pricing information built into them. We also have an assemblies database, and that's really where most of the time is spent in McCormick. You take off an assembly, you're actually taking off a group of items all in one shot. We do give you a menu here, which you'll get familiarized with how to navigate through McCormick, but you're basically just finding a category of material that you want. You know, if you want some conduit, you know, maybe you want some EMT. Basically right now we're choosing all of our fittings, connectors, straps, we're choosing our wire size. The menu activates the location in the database that you want to find something. So now I've got, again, pre-built assemblies in here that are ready to go. So again, when we take off an assembly, we're going to get a whole handful of material all in one shot. McCormick's doing all of the estimating for us here. And then the digital takeoff, in step 1, you bring in plans, and then here in takeoff, we come up here and click this big green Pro button, and then that launches Design Estimating Pro. It does work with multiple computer monitors. You can always slide that over to a second screen if you've got that set up, but you simply set a scale on the plan. And once you've done that, you're ready to do takeoff on here. We have a bunch of speed features built into McCormick. One of the things you can do is set up a list of favorites for the commonly used material that you're going to use per job. I can come over here and I can activate an assembly off of my favorites list, and I'm now estimating on screen. So everything I'm doing on screen is now being estimated. It's actually tracking my count down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the plan. It tells me how many of these I've got counted up. So right now it says I've got 13 of those counted. If I move on to something else, that's going to commit that to the estimating side of the software. So we go down there and look, and now you can see everything that we just put on the plan is being accounted for. So again, McCormick's putting that bid together here behind the scenes for us, getting our material list generated, figuring out labor time on all of this. We call it Design Estimating Pro because you can design and estimate at the same time. We actually have symbols built into our database. If you want to make these assemblies look like the electrical symbols that match the plan, we do have that all set up here in the library. So we could simply come in here and we can go ahead and assign electrical symbols to those assemblies. So that's how you count. Linear takeoff, pipe, wire, cable, anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and grab a branch assembly over here off my list. You can simply click the mouse anywhere on the plan you want to start a run, click the mouse to turn a run, double click to end a run. We do have the ability to add vertical drops onto these runs to account for your ceiling height, factor that in. We also have some proprietary features that are specific to McCormick. Our newest patent is called auto home runs and routing. This is a big one for us. We can actually designate an endpoint here on the plan. And once we have that endpoint established, we can simply click our mouse anywhere on the plan that we would want to send a home run back to that endpoint. And McCormick's going to do that for us. It's going to find the most efficient pathway to reach that endpoint. We can also set up a pathway if we wanted it to follow a specific route. We could also lay that out if we needed to. Or in this example, McCormick's just finding the most efficient way to get that conduit back to that panel that we set up there. So everything that you are doing on screen is being estimated. Everything I do is filtering into the estimating side of the software. Now, if we were done, we could come up here and hit step number 4, extend. Extend is a review step. It's going to take all of the takeoff that was done on this project. I had already taken off some material on this project ahead of time, so everything that you're going to see here on this material list, some of this was already done on this job, but you basically have a full bill of material. It gives you the quantities from the takeoff, and then based on which level of pricing and labor unit that you're bidding with, it'll give you an extended raw cost price on all of your material, and then it'll also give you labor hours on every single item. It adds it all up for us. And we have different levels of pricing and labor built into our database. So depending on what type of project it is or what price you want to give the customer, we can go ahead and make that adjustment right here on the extension. So this is a review of the takeoff. There is a final step called the bid summary. We'd click this button up there in the top ribbon that says send to summary. And then the bid summary is where you're going to add your remaining cost to this job. So we know what the material cost is. We sent that over, $20,000 it's showing us. In the bid summary, we need to add labor rates to the hours. That's what this red box is just showing us. So down here at the bottom, we have some cost tabs. If we go down there and click on that labor, it's showing us right here that we have 832 hours to assign. Now we do have a labor crew that we're going to provide. So this can be customized for your company, but yeah, depending on the crew that you want to add to a project, we would just select that crew and assign that crew to the job here. I'm just going to push a 4-man crew over here, and I'm going to divvy out the hours now. Just go in here and give everybody their own share of the hours on the project, and now we're assigning dollars to the hours. If we go back to the summary page here, that red box is gone. There's our labor dollars in there. And then we're just going to finish it up with any remaining raw costs. So we have a spot for supplier quotes that you can add any quotable material cost. We have another spot for subcontracting if you need to sub any of the work out on this job. We've got another folder for you to put all of your direct job expenses. We've got another tab down there for equipment costs. We can add all that stuff in right there. We do have a bonding tab as well. If we need to place a bond amount on this job, we can do that. You also have a tax button to add your taxes. And then the last part of the bid summary would be to add markups to all of your costs. So once you add all of your raw cost up, then we can go ahead and we can apply overhead and profit, and then we will actually be able to figure out all of our totals over here on the right-hand side. It'll break down raw cost, total return dollars. It'll give us our final sell price here. So that's kind of the whole main flow of the program, start to finish. Again, it's just a simple, easy 5-step process. At this point, we do have the foundation integration ready to go. We have a foundation button up there in the ribbon we would click on, and once you have your foundation credentials set up, we can push all of this bid data right into the foundation accounting. So pretty exciting stuff to be able to again, get all these estimates right over into the accounting side of the program. So a lot of stuff I wasn't able to show you. I just wanted to kind of show you the flow of the program today. So definitely reach out to us directly if you'd like to schedule a more comprehensive demonstration. We can spend some more time with you and really have you take a closer look at this in action. But definitely appreciate you giving me the time today to show you what McCormick looks like.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, JR. Fantastic. Yeah, so So yeah, what we'll do here is I'm going to go ahead and take that screen back over. All right, and you all should see the foundation menu here in a second. So like JR said, super brief overview. The one thing that, again, that we want to sort of point out and showcase is, like JR mentioned, the integration with foundation, the bid data, the material list, the bill of material that he showed you. These are things that would come over to foundation by way of the direct integration. So what I'm going to do here in foundation is just show a couple items of interest related to job costing and related to particularly the union stuff that we marketed this to. So just to kind of expand on JR's comments here, with the integration between these systems, the bid data flows in, and then all of your accounting transactions that you run through foundation, those are feeding into the respective job reports. So a little peek here at what we call the executive dashboard. This will give you all a pretty good feel for what we can do in the way of reporting and really where those numbers end up. So the concept behind this is with foundation being the back end, it's just a bucket that's gathering data. Those numbers are feeding into these reports and these dashboards. So in this example here, you can see in my demo company, I'm running about 9 million in active jobs or contracts. And it shows me that I've got about 7.5 from an estimated cost standpoint for all of my jobs as a whole. By way of those numbers, here's my estimated gross profit. Then you're able to see real world. It's going to show you what you've actually billed against these contracts. It's going to show you what these jobs have truly cost you. It'll show your actual gross profit. And then over on the right side is where you can see each job individually that account for those totals. Now, we're all about WIP reporting, job cost reporting. So if I click this little button here that says View Report, that drills into the WIP schedule, shows percentage of completion. Are you overbilled? Are you underbilled? This is really the guts of our program, automating these over and unders, these work in progress reports without any spreadsheets or manual calculations involved. Now, within the WIP, if there's a job that the user wants to dig into, click that job. That's going to drill down into a summary of that specific job, contract amount, what's been billed against it, estimated cost, actual costs, change orders, percentage of completion. You all get the idea. These are all numbers for that one job. Then we keep going. Now, a lot of our clients are really wanting to cost code their labor, cost code their material, see these different buckets within a job. So in this example, I've got this estimated cost 449, and I'm sitting at an actual cost of 197. If I click the link that says job cost detail, it's breaking those numbers down into various codes. And these are just random examples here. Codes are customizable. We'd help you build these codes based on the type of work that you do. So only examples here. Now within the code, you break it down further. Here's labor for that code, material, subcontract, equipment, burden. These we call cost classes. Now, a lot of our clients don't need this code level. They're just looking to track total labor for the job, total material for the job, which is fine. Keep it simple if you don't want to overdo it here. Those that do want to get a little bit more granular, able to see those labor and material costs in those different buckets within each one of these cost codes. Now, the beauty of this is all of these numbers are showing up by way of the McCormick integration and your day-to-day accounting entries, meaning this 4,200 in labor costs, for example, if I click into the labor, here's every transaction that fed in from payroll that accounts for that labor cost. Or if I go back a screen and click into material, in the case of material, a couple payables that account for that material cost. Now with accounts payable in mind, we can keep going. Click into the transaction number to see the detail of that payable invoice. And then Foundation does have document imaging available. So if we were to click this little paperclip icon, now we're drilling down into a scanned image of that material invoice or whatever type of transaction it happens to be. So this is our backbone here. It's real-time job costing, true cost numbers, no double entry, no spreadsheets, no guessing at what these numbers are. It's, again, real-time feeding from the daily accounting entries. So that's just to give everybody a taste of what we can do from a job cost standpoint, digging into the detail within these jobs. Now, with the union payroll in mind, I'll kind of touch on that a bit, considering that's who we marketed this to. Foundation does cater to the union contractor, prevailing wage contractor, certified payroll. So again, Alex will get into a little bit of the payroll for construction side of things here in a few minutes. But really, considering P4C uses Foundation to process that payroll, we're really looking at the same thing here. So with union in mind, we do have the ability to configure union, multiple union for anybody out there that's working multi-union. So in my example here, I've got my fictitious carpenter local 6, and I've got my different labor trades, and I've got my effective date here to kick those rates in. Those rates may change 6 months in, a year in. Users can get in here and put those new rates in ahead of time, give it that effective date. It'll know when to kick them in. Even if that effective date's midweek, it'll pay the old rates first half of the week, the new rates second half of the week. So this is all date driven, knowing when to apply those new rates. It does not override the previous rates. You can still hang on to what they were before. Same thing applies to all of the benefits. So your deductions, your fringes, all of this information would be built into Foundation as well. So in my example, here's my local 38, IBEW local, electrician trade, D for deduction, F for fringe. So again, for anybody that does come our way, we help you build all these rate tables, deduction fringe tables. It's all about the setup, and then the system would take care of all the legwork for you. So once payroll is processed, in the reports menu under payroll, certified payroll, you see a couple options here. So we do have electronic certified payroll for those that are using LCP Tracker, EMARS, any of these online services we can upload to. And then, of course, we've got the printed certified payroll. So these reports auto-generated. We do have a ton of state-specific forms in here. So any state that has their own certified, unique formats, we've got them built into the system. Also, the standard Department of Labor, WH-347, kind of your go-to format. So in any event, these would be auto-generated as well. Just fill these numbers into the report behind the scenes. You print them when you need to print them. No legwork, no manual entries, no spreadsheets. And then with union in mind, if I scroll down a bit here in my reports menu, you can see the union report. So if I were to run this deduction fringe report as an example, this would show, okay, here's that local 6, each employee, their hours, their earnings, their deductions and fringes. Then we go to the next page and it totals it up. Here's that total bottom line number to submit. Again, anybody multi-union, we go to the next, local 38, detail with totals, local 94 totals, 480 totals. You see where I'm going with this thing. So huge time saver, whether it's one union or you're working 10 different unions, this is all automated and all auto-generated. All right, so a bit of a crash course there. Again, we cater to complex payrolls, and then we're all about the job costing on the back end here with that automated process. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and kick this over to Alex. Now, Alex isn't really going to show you anything here. He's just going to talk a little bit about P4C, what we do, how this whole thing works. So Alex, I'm going to send it over to you at this point. I'm going to pull up the little PowerPoint, and you can go ahead and do your thing here.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Pat. And I'm just going to build here off of what Pat had showed you guys. So again, payroll for construction, our service, the software can stand alone by itself, or the beauty of it, it's built directly into Foundation software. So this has that full power behind it of the ERP accounting software, whether you're a full accounting client with us or you're just a payroll client with us. You're still going to have that full construction payroll software powering your payroll service. So what we actually do at Payroll for Construction is that construction-specific payroll. Starting from the top, we have the ability to track multi-states. So we have clients who are working in a number of states. We are able to work and set up tax tables that we can tie to the jobs where we have these jobs working across different states. System's going to automatically track the tax requirements, what we set up for those states and those tax tables, and tie them to the job. System's going to automatically track those taxes for the client and have that available in those reports for them. Also going to jump into the multi-locality as well. So for those clients that are working in states like Kentucky and Ohio that are going to have specific localities that have their own tax requirements, we're also able to set up tables for those multi-locality companies and tie those directly to the job. System's going to automatically track those tax requirements, the data, the information that we have set up for those taxes on the multi-localities. The third item on the list here is going to be the automated pay rates. So like Pat had showed you the pay rate tables for the union guys that we're able to timestamp there. Those that are union contractors and also have prevailing wage work that they are doing, we are also able to set up tables for those prevailing wage jobs where we have a guy that may be electrician on one day and he has supposed to get paid this pay rate above scale. The system's going to be able to automatically look at that table, pull in the above scale pay rate for these prevailing wage jobs once we define that they're working on a prevailing wage job in the system. So no manual override of those changing pay rates that you may see for guys changing trades on the same job or between jobs. The system's going to be able to automatically track and pull in those rates when we're entering hours. Like Pat also showed you, we have the fringe calculations there. So for the union contractors that have those deductions and fringes, we're able to set up those tables and have the system calculate the fringe and deductions automatically. Those with prevailing wage work, if we're only paying that prevailing wage fringe, whether it's going to the employee or if it's going to a fringe benefit group, we're able to have the system automatically track those fringes and calculate them for us as well. Which will lead me into my next point here, that we are also able to set up a prevailing wage fringe reduction factor. So those clients that are working on those government jobs and the government may be requiring them to pay an employee at $12 an hour for that fringe benefit, but they're already providing benefits at $7 an hour for their employee. We're able to set up on an employee by employee basis for specific fringes to reduce that fringe by the $5 difference there, so we can save money for those clients. Instead of having them pay the $7 on top of the $12, we're able to reduce by that $5 there and save clients money, so we're not overpaying on those fringes. Last item on this list here is the workers' compensation. So we're able to set up those classes and the rates for those guys based on their workers' compensation policy. So for an example I can use here, if we have a roofing company where a guy's going to have a certain class assigned to him with that rate, that's going to be a higher rate because he's working a more dangerous task on top of the roof, we can set up a separate class with that separate rate, tie it to the employee for when he's working on the ground, so we're not overpaying on those workers' compensation classes, tying them to the employee correctly. We can also set up caps on those exposures there, so we have the only required earnings being calculated for our workers' compensation payments. And then thank you, Pat. And then, so slide number 2 here, what we do, like Pat had highlighted on inside the software, is we're going to have that construction-specific reporting. Whether you're that full accounting for us or just that payroll client, you're going to have these reports available to you that are going to be generated by default once we're running payroll through the software. So starting at the top, our certified payroll, we have the over 60 different print formats that Pat highlighted. We also have an electronic upload. We have the union reports that will be generated for you based on those deductions and fringes we had set up with those nice summary pages based on each individual union for those clients that are going to have more than one union. Minority compliance EEO reporting and automatically generated for you. The next one, a big one that we like to show here, is our job, labor, and burden cost reports. So in payroll, we know that we may be defining that our guys costing us $15 an hour on a private job, but once everything is taken into account, the burden, FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' compensation, our employees are going to cost us more than $15 an hour. So we have reports that are going to be broken out by job, by employee, that's going to bring all of that data into account of what they were paid and what went on for the payroll run, give us what our employees are costing us down to the penny at that hourly rate. Reiterate here, we have the workers' compensation reports that will be generated for you. Any 401k plan that clients may have, we're able to set those up, the 401k information on the employee record, and then those will be generated into a nice report for us. Then we also are able to handle child support and other garnishments if a client wants to. But with the garnishments, if someone said they had no problem handling those in-house still, they can choose to keep garnishments in-house if they desire to. Third and final slide here, just to circle back at the core of Payroll for Construction is we're still your full service payroll provider. So we're going to be able to pay your employees via check or direct deposit. We will then become liable for your taxes. So we pay the weekly, monthly, we'll do the quarterly filings, the annually filings, and we'll do the quarterly and annually returns. Also, at year end, we provide the W-2s, and then we also have the 1095s as well. We are able to handle in-house. And for the W-2s, those clients that are joining with us in the middle of the year, they may be coming from another payroll service. They have been running payroll for a number of months. We are able to update your history inside Payroll for Construction so that your employees are only going to receive one W-2 from Payroll for Construction at year end. They're not going to have one W-2 from the old provider and one from the new one. We'll update that history, have all the clean record, clean data inside that new database that we set up for you. Final slide here, just to recap, is software and service all in one place. So foundation software, it's going to be that still full job cost accounting ERP system that's going to be built specifically for contractors. We can have Payroll for Construction integrate directly inside foundation software. But if you guys were to look and say, hey, the accounting system's not really a fit for us, we like staying on QuickBooks, we like what we're using now, Payroll for Construction can be a standalone payroll service module, and at the core of it, it's going to be powered by that foundation payroll, that powerful accounting system in the background. We are able to set up integrations between other accounting systems. For those that want to be just a payroll client, we can push data back and forth between systems like QuickBooks and some of the Sage products. So we are able to talk that more in detail during demonstrations to see what info and what exactly is going to be pushed back and forth between P4C and to your current accounting software's database. Both products can be purchased and run separately, or they can be run together, and both products are going to be accessible online, supported by us in-house, and we're only dealing with contractors, so they're built specifically for them. And what I'll do now is I'll pass it back to Pat then.
Good deal. Thanks, Alex. Very good. So yeah, that's pretty good recap on all of this stuff. So this is where we sort of leave it open to Q&A. And we're going to see if there's any questions that are floating around out there, and I'm just going to address those myself if we have any. And just an FYI, and this is a question that does come up periodically here, this is all cloud-driven. So like Alex said, it can be accessed from anywhere. All of this stuff is over the cloud. So, you know, for those that are working at home these days and you're on the road and you're, you know, running out on job sites and whatnot, very much accessible across the board here. So yeah. Looks like we are good to go here. Not seeing a ton of questions that are coming in. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. And like we mentioned before, you know, anybody that wants to take a closer look, all of our contact info is up on the screen here. You're all going to get a recording of this as well. So you'll get an email that comes out. You know, anybody who wants to snap a picture of the screen here, if you want to keep our contact info on hand, that is great as well. So, you know, JR can help with McCormick, Alex you can see for P4C, and I'm on the foundation side of things. So yeah, we'll let everybody get back to their day here. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. So yeah, keep an eye out for that email. You'll get the recording, and anything we can help with, you just let us know, and we'll go from there. Thanks again, everybody, and enjoy your day.